Mitsubishi Pajero 3.2 DID, a very well-known and well-respected four-wheel drive SUV station wagon. The Pajero has been sitting alongside Toyota Prado, Land Rover Discovery for almost 20 years, and the three of them have been jostling for best of kind, best of type. This is a difficult type because it's this category of vehicle that the most is expected of it. It is expected that it should be a sure-footed, safe family road cruiser. And when you're in the rough, you put it in low range and it must be able to take a punishment. Can this vehicle take that punishment? Is it a great family four-wheel drive? Well, I promised you that I would give you a thorough and complete view of the Pajero, and I think you'll find it interesting. Firstly, I think I'm going to share with you what I like about the Pajero. It's got a lot of good points. As far as a road cruiser, its steering is probably the most direct out of all three of them. Very precise, very nice feel through the seat of your pants. And I'm including tar road and gravel road driving. It's particularly sure-footed on a gravel road. The steering wheel with wood trim. This is the GLS version, the high trim version. What I like about it is all of the things you get with these luxury vehicles. This has a particularly nice steering wheel with lots of remotes. The console, dashboard and everything of the Pajero is modern, clean, very, very nice. When I put my eyes forward and I look down at the controls, I really think these clock binnacles are ugly and cheap and nasty and spoil an otherwise really delightful dashboard. I don't know what it is about modern car designers. I can't figure it. And Pajero has joined them as well. Why is there a great big plastic lump in the load bay? Yes, I understand there's a speaker there and fine, but there is also so much plastic that it's taking up room that I need. I need as much space as I can. I'm not interested in how good it looks in the back. I'm interested in how much I can put in the back. And they're all doing it. Go and have a look at the Hummer, the GM Hummer in the back. It's absurd how much space is taken up by clever trim. It's not bad here, but it's there and it annoys me when I'm trying to fit everything in. I promised you I was going to do a proper review of a family wagon and take my family with me, and that's exactly what I've done. My children are they're interesting critics. They have disliked the Pajero probably more than any other vehicle I've ever traveled with. It's got nothing to do with the leg, because the legroom in the Pajero is really very good. I haven't measured, I don't know if it's better than the others, but it's very good. What they can't stand about it is the middle. There's no seat in the middle of this car. This shouldn't say 5-seater station wagon. Many station wagons in a spec sheet will say 5-seater. This is a 4-seater. The back here, between the seats, is a center armrest. It's so hard that my children detested the idea of having to endure sitting in the middle of this back seat. Car makers, children need comfort too. Please, put a seat in the middle. Right, now the big question is, how did it survive on our desert run? I have very mixed feelings about Pajero. About a year ago, I actually considered purchasing one. I had a four-wheel drive which was very rough and tough but uncomfortable. Nearly had an accident in it because of its lack of safety features, and decided to investigate four-wheel drives that are better equipped in the safety and comfort department. And Pajero was close to the top of the list. Would I buy one now? Well, my experience in the desert, for example, the desert run, it pushed the vehicle pretty much to its limits. In terms of its traction system, it did very well. It was a learning experience because there were times when I was very frustrated by it because I didn't quite understand what was happening with the electronics. The electronics has an anti-skid control, a stability control, which you can manually turn off with a switch, which you need to do when traction is limited, such as sand. When you go into low range, it turns off automatically, and it gives you a signal on the dashboard that it's off. And if you're driving in sand and you're in high range, it causes problems. So you need to know to turn it off. That wasn't the big problem. One of the big frustrations was it has a hill descent type control. Controls the basic speed of the descent by acting on the brakes. You try and go down a really, really steep dune, and when that thing comes in, there were times when at the steepest dune, it actually kicked the vehicle sideways. And I was saying, I don't understand, why is it doing, what's going on? See, I hadn't had any training and I hadn't read the book. I've subsequently found out during experience, playing with the accelerator, playing with the brake down the steepest slopes, that if you apply, if you can feel the vehicle as it starts to assist your control, arrest the speed as one going down a really steep dune, it clatters, it makes a noise in the car as it activates. And you don't want that, because it makes the vehicle feel unstable. You just want it to go really smoothly down the dune. All you do is apply a tiny bit of brake and it goes away. Or, in many cases, I would put it in low first and then apply a little bit of accelerator, occasionally low second, a little bit of accelerator, and then she formed absolutely fine. But I had to go through that learning process. So at first, the first few days in the heavy dunes, the vehicle frustrated me a lot because it was doing things that I didn't want it to do. I wanted it to behave and do what I wanted it to do. My conclusion in terms of its off-road driving ability, Pajero, like its competitors, is limited by clearance. The Pajero's clearance is okay, it's adequate, it's not brilliant, it's not quite as much as its competitors, and sufficient for what we did in the dunes. We did damage the back of the car. The plastic rear bumper acted as a scoop, and we caught it a few times. It scooped up a massive amount of sand, and eventually was actually not ripped off the vehicle, but twisted up, so we couldn't open the back door, and we had to remove it and get rid of the sand and actually replace it. So the Pajero was actually amongst the other people taking part in the desert run. It was nicknamed, actually by me first, the Tupperware Queen, because the piece that came off, or we took off, was made of plastic. These modern vehicles, the front ends and the back ends, are made of plastic, and most of the components are clip-on. But these vehicles can't take the kind of punishment that a heavy off-roader or even a pickup can. So when purchasing and selecting a vehicle, we've got to think to ourselves, well, these Tupperware Queens have to be modified to be able to withstand the kind of, I wouldn't say it's not abuse, but heavy driving that we put the vehicles to. In their standard form, they are severely compromised, and you will bend them. I bent this one. And now I'd like to show you what frustrated me the most and is still frustrating me the most. And I really hope that it is something that can be solved. Try and go back of it. By your dealership. If I was to buy this vehicle,
and all this car does all the time is beep at you.
I would go into a dealership and I would say, please take this away.
Is the underside of the car, just stick your head out, okay?
This vehicle wants me to put on the seatbelt. And that's okay, that's a safety feature. I don't have a problem with a safety feature. But if I sit in this seat and I turn on the ignition, it goes off. Sometimes when I got out,
Yeah, you're stuck, there's no clearance.
It would stay beeping at me. This car, from the moment you get in it, nags you because it goes beep, 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 you haven't put your seatbelt on. You haven't even got in the car yet and it's nagging you to put the seatbelt on. So the moment you switch on something, it beeps at you to tell you that it's switched it on. Now it's beeping saying that you're stuck. Can you imagine how frustrating it is being stuck and having this car nagging you like a nagging fishwife? I must say I'm not impressed.
There?
If I park the car, I have to put on my seatbelt. if I am sitting in the driver's seat fiddling here, I have to put on my seatbelt to stop it pipping. It drove me crazy. I would go into a dealership and say to them, prove to me that you can turn that bip off, or I'm going to go and buy a Prado. That's what I would say to them. And again, I might seem a bit silly. I appeal to vehicle makers. Yes, warn people about seatbelts. Absolutely, no question about it. But you don't have to be like the nanny state. The way to do it is this. It flashes to remind me to put on the seatbelt. If it hits 50 kilometers an hour, then it beeps at me and says, you better put on your seatbelt. I have no problem with that at all. In terms of its power, the DID engine has been around a while. It's not as smooth revving as the new Toyota or Ford engines. It's still a good performer. I don't know how long they're going to keep making it and keep running it, but it doesn't have the finesse, the quietness, the immediate power response of some of the other diesel engines. Nevertheless, Pajero on the dunes was easy to drive and did quite well. Now, if I compare it to those other vehicles, and here's an interesting thought I had when driving it. I said to myself, which vehicle amongst all of those on the dunes were performing the best? It wasn't the one with traction control. None of the others had traction control. The ones performing the best had lots of power and lots of clearance. This had good power, maybe not as many as a few of the others, but certainly more than many. It didn't have the clearance. That was a handicap. That's a common thing with this kind of vehicle. Did traction control help me, assist me to keep up with the other vehicles? I don't think so. So if you're thinking about purchasing one of these vehicles and you're thinking, well, I want to take it off-road and I really want the best off-road perform, should I be focusing my mind when selecting the vehicle on traction control or other electronic devices? In my mind, no, you shouldn't. This vehicle, if I was to buy a Pajero for off-road use, I would not buy this one. I would buy the GLX, the cheaper version, without as many frills. It still has some of the electronics. It still has the on-road ride. It still has most of the safety features, probably not as many airbags. But you're getting 95% of what this vehicle will offer you, you'll get in the cheaper version. It's over 100,000 Rand less. That's almost 10,000 US dollars less. And you're getting 95% of the car. So in my book, that's the one I would go for.